It takes a lot of people to put on an event, and each member of your team has a specific role. In today's video, we're going to show you how you can assign permissions to each of your staff members. In your SimpleTex dashboard, under Settings and User and Roles is where you'll be able to add all of your team members. You'll also notice that there is a Roles dropdown, so if we open this up, these are all the various permission levels that you can give to your staff members. So the highest up here would be Administrator, and then as you move on down, it gets more and more tight there. So with things. So let's just say, for example, we wanted to do a promoter. So we had somebody who was really interested in the sales totals for an event. We can add them as a contact. So we'll just throw in their name here. And then we'll put in their email. And then you go ahead and send them an invitation. And what this invitation allows them to do is to be able to set up their own password with things. So when they go into their email, they'll get an email just like this, and they'll be able to click to confirm their account at first. And then they'll be taken to this screen where they can set up that password. So they'll put up their basic information in here and click Save. So if your promoter logs in to their SimpleTex dashboard, they're going to find it's actually pretty bare. You'll notice that there's not all the options we had before at the very top, and also the ones on the left aren't even available as well, because right now there are no events assigned to this particular promoter. So this is actually what we want. So we want that limited view with things, but we do have, as an organizer, a couple more steps we need to take to set him up properly. So back in our SimpleTex dashboard, under the administrator and owner's account here, we're going to return back into users and roles. You will notice that the promoter isn't listed here because we have it set to staff. All you need to do is use the drop down, click it on promoter, and there he is right there listed with things. So what we want to do now is we want to add events that this particular promoter can see. You don't have to add all of them. Just whichever ones you choose. So let's go back over to events, and I'll use my fun time event. And one thing I want to point out is you'll notice there's all these options here on the left hand side for your owner and administrator of the account here. I call that out because we're going to see that much shorter here on the next screen with things. First, let's go ahead and add our event promoter. So you notice there's an option to do so here. So we'll click on Add Promoter. Let's do it again. There we go. And there's a drop down, and so that's the email of the promoter that we had, of Ted Promoter. So we'll put him in, add him, and he's all set. So now when our promoter logs in, they'll see a very specific dashboard designed for them. And only our fun time event is visible. You can obviously start to see sales and tickets sold and everything with that. If we actually click on the title, you'll also notice that all these options are trimmed down considerably. So really their view is just about the sales and with things. So let's go ahead and click on Order Management. And let's actually look at one with a little bit more sales here to show you. Great. So here's all of our sales information here, so they can view all of that. If they click on the actual name, they can see some details of transaction and admission and stuff. But under their actions, this is a lot more limited. So they can't do refunds or edit an order. They're not here to make changes. They're just here to view things. So they can look at the e-ticket, they can print an order summary, and so forth with that. But it's a very limited view, so they can't make a lot of changes, or any changes for that matter, of anything. They can just take a look at what's there. Attendee list is pretty much the same thing as far as that, but you can still click on things here on the order and see all that here with things. So that is now what the promoter's view gives them. Now let's say you had a staff member whose only job was to check people into the event. It'll do the same thing as we did before, where we'll put in their name and email and send them an invitation. One thing to point out with the check-in only option is that they will not be able to see anything on the desktop. So anything you see before you here, they won't have access to that. They will only be able to see things on the Event Organizer app. So once they actually create their password, there's actually a pop-up that appears nudging them over to the App Store to go ahead and download the Event Organizer app from SimpleTix there. Once they do and log in, as you can imagine, their permissions are pretty limited, so you'll just have the ability to admit and scan people in with our QR code reader. Now we have our third option, where we have a staff member who's not only going to admit people, but to sell them tickets as well. So just as before, we're going to go ahead and put in their name, their email, send them their invitation. And then once they set up their account and everything and their password, they can actually come onto the desktop. As you can see, it's pretty minimized to just selling tickets. They can sell tickets through here if they want to, by just clicking on the image of the event and selling them that way. But what they will use most often is the Event Organizer app. So you can sell tickets, admit. So I'll go ahead and click on here. You can sell your tickets, process those right there on site. And you can also go over and admit in your guests. All right, that's all for today, everyone. We'll see you next time.